I could be your way out. A chance to do some good. And if...
Hey, Harley Quinn, Arkham Gazette. Just a quick question.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Welcome to MojoPlays, and in this installment of Versus, we're pitting the lowest points in Marvel and DC's gaming catalogue against one another. Marvel's Avengers versus Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. That's right, we're not having these two colossal disappointments battle it out to see which is slightly better. We're debating which is the absolute worst.
Well, I'd say I'm insulted, but 50% recognition ain't bad.
Minor spoilers ahead, if you even care by this point.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Round 1. Story.
Sounds pretty big for an accident.
There are no accidents.
Thor, Tony, check it out. At once.
Try to keep up.
On paper, both of these concepts should be instant wins. But as always seems to be the case, it's in the execution that separates the good from the dreadful. After a day of celebration turns into one of tragedy, the Avengers go their separate ways, only to be reunited by budding hero Kamala Khan when the world once again comes under threat.
I know, I look ridiculous.
Yeah, of course you do.
Man.
No, we all do. It's part of the job.
Getting the old superhero gang back together, dealing with everyone's emotional baggage while learning to become a team again, yeah, it's a little cliche, but if anyone can sell it, it's the Avengers. While Kamala was undoubtedly a highlight, the campaign for Marvel's Avengers ranged from fun to meh at a moment's notice, offering no real surprises other than standard superhero fare, which some players were more than happy to indulge in.
You're welcome.
Kill the Justice League, on the other hand, was on track to reach the highest of highs as only the Arkhamverse could deliver. What with a solid intro that had the Suicide Squad tasked with taking down brainwashed versions of the world's finest heroes.
Welcome to Task Force X.
Alas, this just meant they had further to fall, with a final act that decimated any hope of the game reaching the same levels shown in Rocksteady's previous work. Had this been an Elseworld story with no link to the older Arkham games, maybe it wouldn't have stung so much. But the untimely manner in which the Justice League are done in, while the squad plot armor their way to the most depressingly open-ended conclusion to make way for more live service content, squashed whatever hope was left.
So, we get to play with a bunch of cool shit from alternate universes, and then what? Retire?
Avengers' narrative is no Infinity War, but it is its biggest strength by far, whereas the story that the Suicide Squad chose to tell, and how they told it, proved to be one of its biggest failures. Loser, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League.
If he gets captured, I'll kill you myself.
You know, I'm starting to not like her.
Round 2. Monetization. Marvel's Avengers is bloated, stuffed, and downright saturated with various virtual currency. Some are for unlocks, some are for upgrades, and a few are needed to unlock your upgrades. Seriously, between the credits, units, fragments, upgrade modules, nanites, nanotubes, catalysts, plasmas, urus, DNA keys and more, it's way too easy to get confused as to what you even need at any given time. Doesn't help that whatever you're grinding for will likely only afford you cosmetics and new equipment that are barely worth it in the long run, which makes the fact that most of these can be purchased with real world money seem all the more predatory.
Alright. You know what? Maybe I can help you with some upgrades for that. Gear's already spinning.
Really?
Yeah.
For as much as fans may scream about Suicide Squad getting wrong, at the very least it doesn't have the most egregious monetization practices. There are no loot boxes to speak of, and its future cosmetic only battle passes are going to be free. For now. We'll have to see how they handle those premium tiers going forward. Though, we will admit how the inbuilt store handles its cosmetics by forcing players to purchase bundles instead of individual pieces is a little scummy.
This is a hall for heroes, not you.
Greed truly did ruin whatever potential both these games had. Though we'd be remiss if we didn't drag Avengers across the pavement for how abhorrent it was when it came to trying to turn players into piggy banks. Loser, Marvel's Avengers. Round 3, Gameplay.
Oh, I look so good in this suit. Dashing, sir. You are right.
Oh boy, now here is where things get nasty. While no one can deny that repetition, grind, and a sense of dullness permeates the mission structure and overall tone of Marvel's Avengers, there is at least variety. Whether you're playing as Miss Marvel, Thor, Iron Man, or any other members of the team, they at least feel like their own character. Hulk smashing certainly feels different than unleashing a unibeam, that's for sure. While we're not exactly thrilled that the final fight is against MODOK of all villains, between the harm rooms, war, and drop zones, there was enough here to at least give the illusion of diversity.
You struggle against the unstoppable tide of progress, Avengers.
As for Suicide Squad, yikes. Who thought that escort missions, indistinguishable gunplay, and shooting the Justice League would make for a good gameplay loop?
Waller, send us assistance. Green Lantern.
You put a target on our backs, Waller.
We're not saying that the squad don't have it in them to make an amazing game, nor are we totally against battling evil versions of our favourite heroes, but when you break up the repetitive drudgery of taking down your billionth Brainiac-controlled tank by shooting Superman out of the sky with a minigun with zero fanfare or challenge, you know you messed up. Speaking of Brainiac, don't get us started on his flimsy excuse of a final boss fight. He turns into the Flash and makes you act out the first boss fight all over again. Rinse, repeat, reload.
Once you've defeated all 13 Brainiacs? Yes.
You mean 12?
No one considers the gameplay of Marvel's Avengers great, but it's a damn sight better than the looter-shooter shenanigans Suicide Squad dumped into our laps. Would it have really been that hard to leave the guns to Deadshot and let the other members shine with their own weapons? Too little too late now. Loser, Suicide Squad, kill the Justice League.
Perhaps I can modify it in time for the next alien invasion.
Or perhaps I should use it on one of them.
Round 4. Characters. What's a superhero game without its superheroes? Given the culture-defining impact the MCU has had, it was interesting to see how Marvel's Avengers was going to take things in its own direction, and the result was meh. Thor being down and out and having to slowly regain his godliness, Kamala Khan being the fangirl who reignites the passion in the hero she's idolized all her life. These feel like story beats you'd expect to come out of a typical Avengers comic book, and thanks to the talents of some of the biggest voice actors in the industry, the cast retains some sense of heroic familiarity. But these moments are few and far between, and with the game's numerous other issues, the shine wears off rather quickly.
You know, Avengers assemble.
Yeah, we don't really say that.
Just be cool, okay?
Got it.
If we're talking about performances, if we're talking about character models, then Kill the Justice League knocks it out of the park. The squad all feel like themselves, all act in a way that teeters between the anti-heroes you want to root for and the villains that make you wince. Besides, you can't go wrong with the likes of Tara Strong.
Ugh, finally some good news. They keep the strong stuff in medical.
Alas, what lets them and everything else down is the writing, especially when it comes to the side characters. Batman turning into a murderer whose final words in the Arkhamverse are nothing more than cheap throwaway banter with Harley before she executes him?
Are we done with your bad stand-up routine?
It's downright depressing, especially when a few tweaks here and there would have made all the difference from a character standpoint. Also, why the hell is Poison Ivy now a child? Oh, way to undo her tragic death in Arkham Knight. We certainly have more than a few problems with Suicide Squad's treatment of the Justice League, but they get more things right than wrong with its central cast. The Avengers, on the other hand, are mostly shadows of themselves that fail to define themselves against their more popular counterparts. Loser, Marvel's Avengers.
Imposter! Show yourself!
Round 5. Legacy of Shame.
We did this. And she needs your help.
For every step forward Square Enix seems to be making these days, they also have a habit of taking 2 steps back. Marvel's Avengers was them taking 2 steps back, tripping on their own feet, somersaulting, and planting down face first. It was a catastrophe. Not even Spider-Man or Black Panther could save it. It's a stain on Square Enix's reputation just as much as their obsession with the blockchain, and by extension, it crippled the chances of another Avengers game finding popularity and recognition moving forward. If anything, they've dumped all that pressure on Insomniac's shoulders. We can't help but feel for Crystal Dynamics here. Even if they made the rotten thing, it's clear they weren't allowed to play to their strengths.
coming to terms with my failings, not making new ones.
All right. Everyone just take a breath.
Kill the Justice League may be new on the scene, but the negative impact it's had is likely going to be felt throughout 2024. Sure, it's not as vacuous a project as half the titles we got last year, but coming from Rocksteady of all developers, who had established one of the seminal video game trilogies of our time, to come out with something as ill-conceived and ill-fated as this, it cuts deep. Does it still have a chance to make the most of its endgame and better itself? Absolutely. But there's no escaping its dismal first impression. One that, again, had you snipe down the Man of Steel with a minigun. Still can't get over that.
Hell! We murdered the whole Justice League! In self-defense, since they were all totally evil, yeah.
Suicide Squad may still be public enemy number 1, and the tarnishing of Rocksteady's Arkhamverse may be a hard pill for many to swallow, but when it comes to Square Enix, who took something as popular as the Avengers and led it straight into financial ruin, it's an industry failure that's still being discussed and analysed to this day. Loser, Marvel's Avengers.
So much for making you see reason. If you wish to stand with your captain, you can die together.
With a total of 3-2, Marvel's Avengers loses this bout, and once again cements itself as one of the worst superhero games in modern memory.
We just give up. We didn't give up, Tony. We failed. At least I can admit that.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.